Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Hey,
How are you today?
Awesome, awesome. So on the call today, I have Jennifer Rader with AMCAP, and I have as well Kathy Dean and Celeste. They are with First American Title. So welcome.
hi.
Today, we're going to be going over a few things about the starting process when home buying, and then we have Jennifer and Kathy and Celeste to go over the end process of closing. So for first-time home buyers, some of the first few steps that you want to do is determine how much you can spend. And that's going to help you determine how much you're going to need for a down payment. And then from there, you'll get your credit checked and then you get pre-approved for a loan. But a lot of the times, I think people get confused with the difference between being pre-qualified and pre-approved. So I want to talk a little bit about what the difference is. When you're getting pre-qualified, in order to get pre-qualified, a lender may or may not check your credit score and won't require documentation. They're only going off of what you tell them. This will give you an idea of what you could qualify for. But when you're serious about buying, then you need to get pre-approved. To be pre-approved, the lender will pull your credit and ask you for documentation to verify your finances. Before making an offer on a house, it is best to get pre-approved to show sellers your offer is serious and that a lender has already approved you for enough money to purchase the home. So with that being said, you might start thinking about, well, what are some good questions to ask lenders? What you have to keep in mind is when interviewing lenders, it's really important to understand that not all lenders are the same. They're not all equal. So a very good question would be to ask, how much experience do you have in the field? How long have you been working in this field? And from there, you can start asking questions such as, what type of home loans do you offer? Do I qualify for any special programs? What estimated closing costs would I be expected to pay? Everyone's situation, of course, is going to be different. And of course, one of the biggest questions also is, what will my interest rate be as well? So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Jennifer because she is the best in the business when it comes to loans. Jennifer?
Hello. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All of those questions are super, super important for a home buyer to ask. And a lot of our brand new home buyers don't even know where to start. So that's really good advice because we're not all created equal. There are, some general same programs out there that everyone's going to qualify for, but there could be specialty products that someone qualifies for. And if you don't have an experienced lender to offer those to you or to know about those, you could be losing out on something that you might prefer to have. So I think that's perfect. I'd really like to go into Kathy and Celeste, since we're going to talk about some of the closing delays from start to finish. So go ahead, you guys.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Rachel. Again, I'm Kathy Deaton with First American Title. I'm the marketing rep here. These are some of the things that I'm going to pass on to my escrow officer because she's the expert. But there are certain situations that can put a halt in your transaction getting across the finish line. Celeste is going to tell you guys about that today.
So changing your job when you have already applied for the loan, you're a week before closing and you get laid off or change your job, that is a major red flag, not going to work. You're going to have to go through the whole pre-qual again. Also, your marital status, not so much, I don't think, is a huge problem. Just keep your lender informed at all times. Going out and making any large purchases or applying for a new credit card, buying a new car, those things will also throw off your debt to income, which can affect your lender process.
Yeah, and then also too, paying off existing accounts, unless your lender requested. I know Jennifer's going to kind of touch on some of those things. And then also switching banks or moving your money from one institution to another. So really, that's aside from deaths and divorce.
Yeah, if there's a death or divorce being the seller, that could slow the buyer up some, just clearing up the title problems. But these are the big things.
Yes, these are the ones that can avoid everything during,
delays.
yeah, the delays during the closing process. So just make sure that all those don't pull up into the title company in a brand new Rolls Royce that day, because we're going to be like, wait a minute, you didn't have that when you dropped the earnest money off.
Honestly,
So,
don't make any big changes at all. It'll affect the whole process.
Right.
absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
So that's really what we have. And if there are any questions where you're kind of like, could that kind of put a halt on it? You're always welcome to call us. We can answer those for you. But for the most part, I think from here, it's I think I'm going to pass it on to Jennifer, because on the lending side, I think she's got a little more to talk about that, but to make sure that everything goes smooth.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Celeste. All very good points. You guys have some good points there for the lending side. And we really appreciate you guys having that knowledge too, because when we have an agent that's informed, we have title that's informed, as well as, what we do, all of us working together really helps, because all of us are telling the buyers the same thing. Don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this, do this. And that really makes the everything go much more smoothly. I will tell you guys, just as an aside, that I have had all of those things happen. I've been doing this for 20 years. I have had all of those things happen. I actually had a lady who was buying 2 houses at one time and didn't tell us.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. We got it done, but it delayed everything, because now all of a sudden, wait, there's this new debt we have to talk about. What do you mean you're buying another house? I thought you were moving into this one. So it was a mess. I've had people buy cars. I've had people just not listen. And we send this information out verbally. We send it out to them probably 4 times in the process of what to do and what not to do. So huge, huge kudos to you guys for making sure you're telling them that as well.
Thanks. And on that note, I mean, we've had situations very similar where we've been at the closing table, and then on the documents, it's not where you can just go back and fix it. Like, there's different parties that you have to get in touch with. So it's not one of those just quick fixes really fast.
Right.
I mean, it could delay the whole process just with not verbally telling everything that should be on the file or the loan or whatever. So yeah, those are good points.
Home
Yeah.
buyers, just keep in mind, if you ever don't know, just always ask and be super open to what's going on in your life.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I tell all our buyers too. Tell me everything, right? I need to know everything, because I need to know if we have a challenge over here, how do we navigate around it? We can make it work. We just need to know so we can make it work, right? If you don't tell us and we find out at the last minute, like Kathy said, we're never, yes, we could fix it, but who's it going to displace in terms of time waiting for that to be fixed? So yeah, so totally. And then I only have 3 more, buyer side really related, actually seller side too, but more so buyers. 3 of the things that we see towards the end that can delay things, or, say maybe 3/4 of the way through to the end, that will sometimes typically delay something, would be last minute amendments, or amendments that are not provided to us. So for those of you who are newer to real estate, amendments are a document when things change from the original contract. And the most common ones are sales price changes, maybe loan amount changes. They've decided to put more or less money down. Maybe the loan type is changing for some reason. So that could be a contract change, closing date, and then repairs is a big one that we seem to get a lot on a lot of contracts. All of those things are workable and doable, but we have to know about them, because again, we have to navigate through those, especially if the sales price changes. Most of the time when a sales price changes, the loan amount's going to change. Well, that's going to change everything that we do, right? If the loan amount's increasing or decreasing, that's going to affect what that person is qualifying for, and ultimately the documents that we're going to send to Kathy and Celeste. If our documents are off, there's a closing delay. So we want to make sure all of that is exact. In terms of repairs or seller concessions, those are sometimes added after too, like after the inspection, or something pops up later, they've gone back for another review or something and they see something. Those again are allowed, right? We can have seller concessions, we can have them added later. It's not a problem. We just need to know, because interested party concessions are limited. There are guidelines for every loan type out there of how much someone can get from the seller. So we have to know what those numbers are to make sure that they work right with the loan that person is getting. In addition, if let's say they're asking for repairs, okay, maybe they're not asking for concessions, but they're asking for repairs instead, depending on the loan type, we have to get documentation to show that the repairs have been completed, because it's now part of the contract, right? Which everyone sees. The appraiser gets that, the title gets it, we get it. So we have to make sure those repairs are completed, and depending on the loan type, we either need documentation to prove it, or sometimes we'll need a statement from the buyers saying that they're satisfied with the repairs that have been made. So again, it's workable. It just takes a little time to get those things in process and get those things signed when they need to be signed.
Absolutely. I think just understanding that any minor change changes every step in the process.
Yes,
One thing.
perfect. Yeah, it's so important. Negotiations after appraisals. Those aren't as common, you know, and most of the time it happens sometimes, but sometimes the appraisal will come in too low, and then everybody renegotiates the sales price, or, you know, the buyer might decide to pay a little more, the seller might, you know, decide to give a little concession, whatever it is that they agree on. Again, all of those scenarios are allowed and easily done, but they take time. You know, your seller could be out of town, your buyer could be out of town, they could be at work all day. So those, we just have to allow time for all of that. So the sooner we know something like that has changed, the better. And the last thing, excuse me, would be the last minute credits, which is like I was just talking about, concessions and stuff. If all of a sudden, and again, they're allowed, not a big deal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to all happen at the beginning. It doesn't have to be, you know, at a very specific time. But if concessions are added towards the end, again, we have to verify that they're allowed through the loan program that they're doing, make sure they don't exceed any of those levels. And then of course, for Kathy and Celeste and for our closing team, we have to know that information, because we add that to the documents at the very end. All those credits, we want to make sure if the seller's giving the buyer a credit for something specific, it has to be on that documentation, because otherwise they're going to bring too much money to closing. So like you said, Rachel, you know, all of these things are not usually a big deal, but they take time, and one little thing can change 5 other things that we have to prepare for.
Absolutely. But I think it's just really having that open communication. And then this is another reason why you want to make sure that you interview who you're choosing as your realtor, as your lender, as your title company, because if they have a great relationship, then that communication is going to be great. Nothing will go under the rug, and hopefully no bumps as well. So just make sure that you're choosing wisely.
And like you said, communication is the key.
Yep.
Through the whole process.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, there you have it, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Again, I'm Rachel Droll Espen with JLA Realty, your community market leader. And we have Jennifer Rader with AMCAP, Kathy Dean and Celeste with First American Title. And we are here to help you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, or you can comment in the comments below. Bye, guys.
Bye.